right, so welcome everybody. Tonight's pose is Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose. And the thought behind that, or the idea behind extended side angle, is that the extension is not so much about how long you can get your limbs, because we think about that on the outside as how long can I actually force my body to go, but that it's really an internal reaching. And the attitude that we can have here is really about how we reach in the world. Are we reaching on an external level, or are we reaching from an internal place? Right? Because the external, we can reach for a goal and maybe we achieve it, but it doesn't mean anything to us, right? It doesn't actually fulfill anything in us to accomplish, right? So the reaching in extended side angle is not just, can I pull myself in two directions, but can I actually feel that from inside, I understand how to expand myself to my full capacity, right? So that's the attitude, is that there's this sense of inner fulfillment, so that the extension isn't pulling you away, but it feels like your sense of self or your sense of stability or center suddenly just gets so much bigger, right? So you're actually taking that stable center and you're expanding it. Like that's what's extending, right? So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let your eyes close. And just start with that feeling of breathing into your middle rib cage, your side rib cage. Right? The part of the body that is most immediately in that feeling of extension and side angle is really the side body. So it's the side waist. So as you're breathing, breathe wide, right and left into your ribs. And if you're not sure what that feels like, bring your hands to your outer ribs and breathe into that. Good. So palms to your ribs so that you have a flat, full surface to breathe into. So your inhale is to the right and the left. So it's not forward and back. It's how big can I get out to the side? And exhaling. Now, I find when I breathe this way that trying to make my breath bigger when I'm focusing on my belly or the front of my chest, it brings on a stressful response. I get to a point where it feels like I've reached my capacity and I can't go any further, and it causes anxiety, it causes stress if I push past it. My middle ribs, when I breathe wide, it feels like I could almost go on forever, and that doesn't happen. So it's just interesting to notice the way that you breathe. The way that you choose to expand can either cause you to feel like you're coming away from yourself, or it can cause you to feel like what is yourself, that sense of self, is just getting bigger. And the bigger we get, the more we let ourselves fill in that space. That's the point of extended poses, is you get as long as you can and then you fill in that space. A couple more breaths, as wide as you can get into your ribs. Good. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Take a deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And I want you to come to sit in Gomukhasana. So to cross your right thigh on top of your left, stacked. If you need a block or a blanket or something underneath you, make sure you have that. If this position really does not work for you, sitting in this position, then I want you to sit cross-legged instead, right shin in front of left. I know it's not the same rotation on your hips, but I want there to be kind of a hip awareness going on to begin. Good. And then take your arms out wide to letter T and bring your left arm in front of your right, wrapping the forearms into eagle arms, and then start to make little circles with the elbows. Good. You're bringing movement into the upper back and the shoulders. Nice. So thinking about the length of your body for extended side angle is that in the full position is that we have to have this feeling of being able to lengthen out through the legs, being able to lengthen out through the side waist especially, but also the shoulders and the arm. Good, and especially for variations where you want to do binding or things like that in side angle, is that the shoulders and the upper back have to have a strength and an openness. Good, come back to stillness, please. Lift your elbows a little higher. Keep pressing the forearms together. As your elbows lift, pull your armpits back, pull your ribs in. Good, and then exhale, bring your elbows forward and down, curl in. Good, really press back through your lower spine. Nice, and then inhale, come back up. Lift the elbows again, a little higher, pulling back on the ribs, space for your chest. And then exhaling, curling in, pull the elbows down and in towards your belly. Armpits go back, shoulders wide away from your ears. Good, and then one more time, come back up to center. Lift the elbows a little higher, inhale. Good, and then bring the elbows down and in, squeeze and round. Nice. And then release, please. Stretching the arms out wide, letter T. Good. Take your right arm out and down to the floor, and left arm comes over your ear. Stretch. Good. Walk your right fingertips out further than you think is reasonable. Good. So you're not resting solid on that arm, but you're actually coming out to where, again, you have to start to play with that feeling of extension. So how do you keep your seat stable here, but move your ribs laterally, so to the side, to the right. So the left rib cage pushes in, the right rib cage pushes out. Good. That's it. Nice, Sarah. And then drop that right elbow a little deeper towards the floor. Bend the elbow if you're not there already. Good. So again, the more you do this, is you're going to feel where the stretch happens, either in your side waist closer to your ribs or in your side waist closer to your hip. Good. Come all the way back up to center, please. Take your stretch the other way. So with the arms out wide, reach out as long as you can, and then let that left hand touch down. Right arm comes over the ear. And again, you're walking the fingers out away from your hip so that you're not resting on that arm, but you have to actually feel how to maintain the extension from your core body. So your ribs are drawing in, your butt cheeks stay on the floor or on your props. Press down through that right seat. Good. Nice, you guys. And then let that left elbow bend a little bit more. Yeah, move your ribs laterally to the left. So again, this is what we're looking for, is that mobility of the rib cage. Good, and then come all the way back up to center, please. Nice job. Unwind your legs, take your legs straight out in front of you. Good, feet as wide as your mat. Reach forward to find your ankles or your feet or some part of your leg that you can reach hold or grab hold of. And then nice strong arms, connected arms, start to cat-cow your spine. So holding onto the feet or the ankles. Good, cat-cow. And again, the feet don't need to be super wide, just a little bit of space. Good. Nice. And the arms again are there so that you are paying attention to the connection of your arms into your shoulders. So in this position with your arms extended, if your chest is curling because your arms are so far out away from the core of your body, then your first work is to pull those arms back in. And then from there, you maintain that drawing in. Then you can move the spine. Good. But if we let the shoulders come out and then try and move the spine, is we're creating more shoulder instability. Again, that's that I'm reaching outside instead of reaching from inside. Good. Nice, Lydia. Come back to stillness, please. Forward fold. Good. And then walking yourself back up, please. Good. Take your Gomukhasana on the other leg. So left leg comes on top of right, should be. And if you're not doing the thigh over thigh or knee over knee, then you're sitting cross-legged with your left shin in front of your right. Good. Feet are flexed either way. Good. And then stretch your arms out wide again. Take the eagle arms in the other way. So that should be right arm over left. I might be wrong. Good. However, I said it before, just put the other arm on top and start to make little circles with your elbows. Good. Right, this is an important concept in yoga, this sense of, are you reaching from an internal place that is fulfilling, or are you reaching externally trying to make something look one way when it doesn't come from a real place of feeling, or it doesn't come from a real place of where there's anything to fill in that space. So extended side body is from the core of you. You're able to extend, that your navel and your pelvis is so stable that you're able to extend the legs, extend the arms, find your full capacity and maintain it. Good. Come to stillness, please, with the arms. Lift the elbows a little higher. So you're still in eagle arms. Keep them crossed. Lift the elbows up. Good. And then exhale, curl in, bring the elbows down and in. Pull your armpits back. So you're not just collapsing forward, but you're actually rounding into your back. Pull back into the lowest place of your abdomen so that your low back feels like it's being stretched from the effort of the front. Good. Come back up to center. Inhale the elbows up again, still squeezing the forearms. Good. And then bring the elbows down and in, again, rounding, pulling through the back. Good. Hollowing the front. Nice. Come back up to center. One more time. Lift the elbows up. Good. And then exhaling, bringing the elbows down and in. So again, creating an openness through the back, whole length of the back. Nice. And then come all the way back up. Stretch your arms out wide, letter T. Good. And then you're reaching your left hand out and down to the left. So extend as far as you can out to the left. Let your fingertips touch down, and then right arm comes over the ear. Good. And then for fun here, bend that right elbow. That's the arm in the air. Bring the hand behind your head. Good. Look down and in towards your chest first, and then round into your back rib cage again. So pull the ribs back. Good. And now start to open your armpit more. So you're actually stacking your right rib cage more on top of your left. So your left ribs are going to rotate forward. That's it. Now press your head back into your hand. Good. And let your elbow cup forward. So it's like you're trying to pull or hollow the front of your shoulder joint as you push your head back. Good. Nice. And now slide that right hand down behind your heart. Good. So the elbow is going to point more towards the top of your head, the tip of the elbow, and then lean over to the left a little bit more. Keep that feeling of trying to stack the right rib cage on top of the left. So there's that rotation. Good. And then come all the way back up to center. That was fun. Good. Take the arms out wide. I liked watching you do it. It felt good. And then go the other way, please. Take your right arm out and down to the floor. Left arm comes over the ear. Again, your right arm is extended far enough so that you're not just resting your weight straight on it, but you have to be in that extended side body position. Good. Relax that right shoulder. Good. And then bend your left elbow. That's the arm in the air. Take the hand behind your head. Look in and down first. So look towards your chest or look towards your belly and round back. Pull your rib cage back. Pull the low belly back so that your whole back feels full. Now spin that right rib cage, your lower rib cage forward, and let that left rib cage start to slide back. Good. Keep both butt cheeks on the floor, Anastasia, and everybody else, but especially Anastasia. Good. Now start to press your head back into your hand so you open the chest, but don't let your ribs pop forward. Nice. Good. And now cup that inner elbow slightly forward and press the head back. Yeah. Good. Now slide that hand back behind your heart. Tip of the elbow points towards the top of your head. This is what you want the extension to feel like, right? Is that you have that open place through your armpit, but you're not pulling your arm out of the shoulder. You're actually trying to draw it in. So it's your side ribs that are extending out through that tip of the elbow. Does that make sense? Good. And then come all the way back up. Nice, you guys. Even if it didn't make sense, looked good. Unwind your legs, please. Take your legs forward again. You can come off of your block if you want to. Again, same position. Separate your feet about as wide as your mat. Walk forward. Find your forward fold, holding the feet, the ankles, whatever you can reach for. Good. Take a break to hug your dog if you need. And then cat-cow your spine. Good. But hang on to your legs, please. So make that steady commitment that as you hold through the arms, that's going to be your bracket. Like that's your awareness of what your core body is doing and what your extremities are doing. Good. So you're continuously trying to pull the arm bones up into the shoulder socket. And as you pull up, it gives more range for your chest, for your spine to actually rotate, for that joint to actually open. Good. Nice. So I hear the joke sometimes in yoga poses that, oh, if only I had longer arms, if only I had longer legs, this pose would be a lot easier. And there's truth to that, right? Body proportions make a difference. But that's an excuse we give ourselves. It's a big excuse. So the extension doesn't come from if I had longer arms. It comes from how can I reach through my core? How can I reach through what I've been given and fill in all of the space of that? Because we don't, we hide. and say, I wish I were different. Come back to stillness, please. Good. Cross the ankles, roll forward to hands and knees, come back to downward facing dog. So extended side angle is, can you fill up all of the space that you've been given? And then if there's more, we recognize that there's more. That's what we expand into. Good. Pedal your feet just a little bit in downward facing dog. Nice. And then steady the heels, please. Bend your elbows out wide. Yep. In your down dog, bend your elbows wide. So again, you feel that shoulder integration. Good. Low rib cage in. Lift through the back of your throat without tilting your chin forward. Keep your chin level, but push up through the back of your throat and the back of your ears. Good. Now start to squeeze those forearms towards each other. Squeeze your elbows towards each other so they rotate to the back of your mat. And now pressing through your hands, pull your chest back. Pull your butt back to straighten your arms. So push through the hands, but extend again through your spine. Good. And then press the top of your head to that space between your thumbs. Nice. And then release the knees down to the floor. Good. Bring your hands up to your hips, please. Good. Gate pose. Take your right leg out wide to the right. Bring the heel in line with your left knee. Good. I'm glad you guys are getting warm. Take your arms out wide. Good. And then you're reaching to the right, but I want you to really pay attention to this, that you're not reaching down the leg, you're reaching laterally. So you're reaching straight out to the side. Extend out like you're going to do triangle. Extend and pause. Good. And then bring yourself back up to center. Hua. Good. And then extend out again towards that extended leg. Pause. And then come back up to center. Good. And then extend out again. As you extend, can you squeeze your foot and your knee towards each other? And then see if you can extend further because you're squeezing in through the legs. Aha. Come all the way back up. Good. One more time. Extend all the way out. Your side waist will be so happy tomorrow. Good. Stretch your left arm over the ear as well. So both arms are reaching out over that right thigh. Good. Right rib cage tucks under, spins forward to open the left rib cage. Do that. Yes. And now extend out further again. Reach. Nice, Susan and Suzanne. Good. Come all the way back up. Beautiful. Now take your left hand out and down to the floor and stretch your right arm over your ear. Good. What does this feel like? Side angle, right? Same pose. Take your right hand to your right rib cage. Good. Push your rib cage up into your hand. Yeah. And as you push your rib cage up into your hand, press down through your left hand to that hand on the floor. Push down. As you push down, try and again hollow. So you're pulling up through your side ribs as you push down through the arm. Good. So you feel your hip lift. Nice. And then press through the baby toe edge of that foot. Good. Now take that right arm over the ear. Yeah. And round, round, round. Pull up through your side ribs. Pull up through your hip. Reach. Good. Plug that arm into the shoulder socket. Good. And then come back up, all the way back up to gate pose. So arms up, shoulders up. Slide the right hand down the right leg. Left arm comes over the ear. Good. Pressing your right shin up into your hand. So there's never everything's going down. There's a lift. So you're pushing up through that right shin. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come all the way back up to center. Good job. Come back to hands and knees, please. Take a camel pose. Surprise. So you can use a block between the knees here if you'd like. Did I say hands and knees? I'm sorry. Just come back to a kneeling position. Shoulders on top of your hips. Good. Yeah, so you can do a blanket underneath the knees if you need for camel. If you want to block between the legs, go for that. And then hands behind your head, please. Elbows wide. Good. So again, you're reaching up through the front of your hip points, and then you're drawing your rib cage in, start to lean back, hinge back, and then chest goes up. And as the sternum reaches up towards the ceiling, you cup those elbows in. So again, you're hugging those shoulder blades towards the back of your heart to push up through your sternum. Good. And then if you want, drop the hands back to your heels. It might feel better to just stay where you are. Again, it's pretty early in the class. Good. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up. Really nice, Joy. Beautiful. Good. And then come back to, drop your hips to your heels just for a second. Drop your forehead to the floor. Give your mind a break. With your forehead on the floor, breathe into your back body. So again, there's no amount of extension that is going to make you feel bigger than you are. The only way to feel the fullness of yourself is to fill up all the space that you've been given. So even if we think that we are very small in the grand scheme of things, is breathe into the full capacity of what you've been given. So breathe into your back rib cage here. So that any pose that you're in that says extended, and a lot of yoga poses in Sanskrit say extended, it means that you have more space to fill up. So you're breathing deeper. Come all the way back up to kneeling. Good. Take your left leg out wide for gate pose. Nice. Heel is in line with the opposite knee. Good. My suggestion is toes facing forward or as much forward as they can be where the foot can be flat, because again, this mirrors or it mimics the way the legs are in side angle pose. Arms out wide. Good. You're reaching out to the left, not down the leg, just straight out. Reach out, extend like you're in triangle. Good. Keep reaching. Keep reaching. Keep reaching. You got it, Sue. Keep going. Good. And then come back up to center. Yeah, don't let the arm fall. You want to keep it level with the floor. And then go again. Reach out to the side. Good. Again, training this sensation of what is extension. Watching when you turn your ribs forward. Keep that right rib cage rotated wide, Joy. Good. Come all the way back up. Nice. And then extend back out again. Reaching as far out to the left as you can. Good. Take your hold there. Take your right arm over the ear as well. Both arms reaching. Good. Don't go less than parallel to the floor. So just keep reaching to the side. You're not getting lower. You're getting longer. There's a difference. Good. Left rib cage tucks under, spins forward so the top rib cage can soften back. Good. Arms back, Mark, in line with your ears. Awesome. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up. Nice, you guys, arms wide. Reach the right hand now down to the floor. Left arm comes over the ear. Good, pressing through the baby toe of that left foot. Good. Nice, and then bring the left hand to your outer left ribs. Good, push your ribs up into your hand. Yeah, so this is one of those sensations. Again, you're gonna say, but this makes my side body round, so I'm not as extended. But if you don't get this sensation of being able to actually move your rib cage from inside, is that you don't have the ability to extend, right? So you have to be able to round here for you to be able to find the full extension of your side body. So round, push up, hip up. Good, and then push through that right arm, that arm that's on the floor. Good, nice, you guys. And press into the baby toe of your left foot. Now take the left arm over the ear. Good. And again, round as much as you can. Pull up through your rib cage, push up through your hip. Nice, Susan. Nice, Lydia. Good. Nice, Sue. Nice, Anastasia. Beautiful, you guys. Come all the way back up to gate. Good. Left arm slides down the left leg. Right arm comes over the ear. Nice. Again, we shy away from a lot, right? If you're going to be an extended side angle and not be relying on the hand that's either on the front shin or on the floor, is that you have to develop this strength of the core body. Good. So we have to develop that awareness of what muscles have to be engaged for us to hold from the core. Good. How do I extend from inside instead of reaching from my extremities? Come all the way back up. Nice. And then release the hands, please. Release the knees. So come back to hands and knees for real this time. Good. Do a little bit of cat and cow. Move your spine. Good. Nice, you guys. Come back to stillness, please. Downward facing dog. Good. Step the right foot, take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. I'll go here first. Good, bring the knee forward towards your nose, bring it forward, and then shoot that leg out to the left underneath your left armpit. Good, pull the leg forward a little bit more onto the baby toe. Take your left foot flat to the floor, left arm to the sky. So again, pushing through that right arm, that same sensation of I want you to pull up through your rib cage, push up through your hips. Good. And as much as you can open the chest, do it, but focus on that pushing up through your side body. Awesome. Nice, Kristen. And then slowly bring it all the way back to down dog split. Really good, Lorraine. Nice, down dog split. Beautiful. Step that right foot between the hands, please. Good. Drop your back heel. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Good. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. I know, don't get excited. We're not going into side angle yet. Good. But I want you to come up on the ball of your front foot. Yep. So lift your heel. Good. And then let your pelvis go a little bit deeper towards the floor. Yeah. Nice. And then turn your palms to face up and squeeze your shoulder blades together behind your heart. And as you squeeze your shoulder blades a lot, feel what happens to your chest and your ribs and your neck. So you're squeezing, but then drop the shoulders wide and press out through your fingers, but don't lose the squeeze. Good. And draw your rib cage in and drop down through your pelvis. Yeah. Now let your heel come down to the floor and pull back, squeeze back on that heel. Good. Left hand down the back leg, palms still facing up. Take the right arm to the sky. Both palms are still facing up. Good. So Sue, reverse warrior. Just switch the arms. Nope, the legs were right. Actually, no, you are on the opposite leg somehow. Yep, there you go. Come all the way back up. Good, you guys. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Spin your back heel up, step your left foot forward just a little bit so that both legs come to straight. Parsvakonasana, not to be confused with Parsva. Parsvo. Good. So why? Because it is important that the outer hips have to do a lot of work to stabilize us. The back thigh in side angle pose is in that extended position. So everything from the outer hip through the outer thigh, if that's very tight, we're going to have a limited amount of access to that. And if our back leg is not able to participate in the pose, then we lose all ability to extend the torso, right? So it's the legs that help hold the stability of the extension and the core. Good. One more breath, squeeze the feet towards each other, scoop your belly. Nice. And then come back to downward facing dog, please. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, or take a breath or two in child's pose. If you're doing the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank, lowering down slow, rising up cobra. Again, I don't do a lot of vinyasas in this class format usually, but I think it's really helpful here to move your spine. And then come back to downward facing dog. And it's the reminder that the way that you breathe through poses, right? Being in that state of restriction, I'm in a pose that's not just me standing around. Can I breathe my full capacity into that position? That's what side angle is about, at least in my mind. Left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring the knee forward towards your nose and then shoot that leg out to the right underneath your right armpit. Split the legs as much as you can. So you're pulling the foot forward as much as you can, flexing the foot strong. Take the right foot flat to the floor, right arm to the sky. And push into that left arm and engage, lift through your side rib. So you're pulling your right rib cage up to the sky. You're pulling your right hip up to the sky. And to facilitate that, you're pushing down into your left hand and into your legs. But it's the core that is pulling. It's the back that's pulling you up, that's elevating you. Good, internal. Awesome. Bring yourself all the way back to down dog split. Really good, Joy. Really nice. Good, Mark. Good. And then step that left foot between the hands, please. Lunge. Right heel comes flat, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Come into warrior two. Good. Nice. And then just for a second here, So you're leaning forward like you're going to bring your chest parallel to the floor. So not forward towards the top of your mat, but forward towards the long edge of your mat. So lean forward, push your butt back. Good. And feel how the top of your back thigh had to really move back in space. Good. Now stay there. Start to round through your ribs a little bit. So you're drawing your sit bones under a little bit. Squeeze that left butt cheek back and in. So your knee is pointing towards second toe. And now bring your shoulders up on top of your hips without pushing your back thigh forward. Don't let it get hard. Good. Yeah. Drop the tail, lift through the hip points, but don't push that thigh forward. Good. Turn your palms to face up, please. Come up on the ball of your front foot. So lift your front heel and you're letting the pelvis descend straight down. So that doesn't mean that you're pushing forward into a deeper lunge necessarily, but you're letting the pelvis go straight down. Good. So you're squeezing the feet towards each other and then squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. And then hang on to that squeeze, pull your low rib cage in, and then try to lengthen out through your fingertips. So you're squeezing the lower armpits in, but the tops of your shoulders are pushing wide. Good. And now release the heel down to the floor, please. Squeeze back on that heel so the back of your thigh is really awake. And then reverse warrior. Take the right hand down the back leg, palm still facing up. Don't turn that palm down. I saw that, Anastasia. Turn that palm up. Good. Yeah, watch that your back thigh, Susan, doesn't push forward again. You got to soften it back. Yep. Good. Come all the way back up to center, please. Nice job, you guys. Cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Good. Spin your back heel up. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvakonasana. Good. Separate your feet a little wider, Lorraine, right and left. I do think to myself that it's going to be very funny when I eventually get around to doing Warrior 2. It's going to be like, well, we did everything already. Because a lot of the same engagement in Warrior 2. In side angle. Good. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Nice. Active legs, right? There's not a minute in extended side angle that you can fall asleep. So the big thing is that while you're in it, it is continuous extension. It is continuous awareness of holding that steady, stable center and then expanding from that steady, stable center. So you can't fall asleep. Good. Nice. Bend that left knee, please. Step your right foot forward alongside your left. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, toes facing straight ahead. Bend your knees, bring your thighs parallel to the floor. Good. So not a full squat, just thighs parallel to the floor, fingertips on the floor. Good. Walk your hands back behind your feet if you can. Good. If that really doesn't work for balance, you can walk your feet forward. So inside the knees though, Lorraine, walk your hands back inside. There you go. Good. You can even, if it's available here, bring the thumb and first finger of each hand to the back of, or the space between the thumb and first finger to the back of each heel. So cup the heel with your hands. Good. So you're actually balancing. Good. So no hand weight on the floor. And then you can drop your hips a little lower. Keep lifting your chest up. So butt back a little bit more, Lydia. Good. You got it. I know you're thinking that you look silly, but you look great. Good. And then release the hands, please. Straighten the legs, forward fold. Nice job. Right hand to outer left ankle or shin. Left arm to the sky or to your lower back. Pushing your inner thighs wide. Again, all of this little bit of sequence is to try and open up outer hips and thighs so that when you're in that extended position, as the leg is really available. Good. Release and switch. Take the left hand to the outer right ankle, right arm to the sky. Good. And again, my hope is that if you understand why I'm picking every pose that I'm picking, then when you do the postures in your mind, you're like, okay, this is what's actually working here. Or this is what's actually opening up and why it's necessary. And if it's a place that is tight for you, as you start to become aware of what's locked up in that part of the body, right? What part of yourself do you not want to extend or expand into? Release down, please. Release the twist. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank. Lower down to your belly. Again, the vinyasas here are nice for core stability. Point your toes, rise up cobra. Good. Lower your cobra just a little bit so that your elbows are definitely bent. Drag back on your hands like you're going to slide forward on the floor. Good. And then from your sternum, pull forward and up and dig those lower tips of the shoulder blades down. Good. And then release your forehead back to the floor, please. Keep your hands where they are, but lift them up off of the floor. Yep. Press down into your legs. From the lowest part of you, from the top of your pelvis, start to draw forward and up. Draw your navel in so you get full in your low back. And then again, from your sternum, from your side body, pull your ribs long, armpits forward, and come into cobra pose, no hands. But do it by extending. Good. So you have to get into that sensation of not how do I lift up, but how do I pull so forward, and then engage those back muscles, those belly muscles to resist gravity. Good. If you can do it here, then you can do it anywhere, right? Good. And then release the hands to the floor, still in the pose. Now press into your hands and same energy, lift a little higher. Good. So the hands support you, but they don't take over doing all the work. Good. If they did just take over doing all the work, that's okay. Just notice. And then release back, please. Press up to hands and knees and come back child's pose. We have to also be realistic, right? Sometimes we plant the hands down and they take over doing all the work. Good. What does it take to expand, to extend from the inside without using external support to convince us that we're bigger than we are, or bigger than we feel ourselves to be, because we're always bigger than we think we are? And when asked the question, I can't remember which Kundalini teacher said this, but it might have been Guru Mukh, that the answer when someone says, how are you? Is that you say, well, my soul is always great. It's always grand. It's always huge. Your mind might be in a state of whatever, but the answer to the question, how are you? Great. Soul is always great. That's what we're reaching from, or what we're expanding into as human beings. We're expanding into that greatness that we already are. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Downward facing dog. So if you thought extended side angle was just a yoga pose, opportunity to meet your soul, that's what every asana is. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward towards your nose. Again, shoot it out to the left underneath that left armpit. Split the legs as much as you can. This time you're not lifting the arm. You're just pushing out through that right heel until your outer right hip finds the floor. Yep. So you're extending out, extending out, extending out. Keep your left toes tucked under. Yep. Good. So all the way down to the floor, Joy. So that right hip is on the floor. Right thigh is on the floor. Keep going. Push out, push out, push out. Good. Rib cage stays facing forward. Yeah, so you should be resting, you guys, on that outer right hip. So you got to push the leg all the way out, Mark. Keep going. Yep, until your hip finds the floor. Keep going. Keep going. Yep, there you go. Left toes are turned under, rib cage facing forward. Keep the feet flexed. You're still trying to split the legs. Come down to your forearms. Good. So your chest should be facing the floor. Your back toes, left toes, should be tucked under. So your left heel should be up towards the ceiling. Good. There you go, Susan. Yep. And you're pressing into the forearms. And again, you're splitting the legs. So don't let them come closer to each other. Keep pulling that right thigh higher towards the top of your mat, or it should be at least level with your hip. Can't quite see the angle you're at, Anastasia, but just make sure it doesn't go, to a crazy place, but it should be hopefully level with your hip. Good. A much more fun way to stretch your hips and thighs than pigeon, right? Good. But again, this gets us into that feeling that extension, right? Extension pushes us to those edges that we're sure are real and maybe aren't. And when we're coming from a deep place of trust or a deep place of understanding ourselves, where our strength comes from, how great we actually are, is that we come to those edges and we have more courage, we have more willingness to let them dissolve. When we don't have that inner sense of self, we come up against those edges and we shy away and say, oh, okay, I won't go there. I'll stay small. So what does it mean to extend? You expand into all of the space that you are, that you've already been given. And however short or long your arms or legs or torso is, right? Dad joke, your legs are the perfect length, they reach the ground. Breathe into the space that you have. And if somehow that becomes not enough, well, then you'll see what expanding beyond that is. Take one more breath on this side. Good. Then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Good. So the trick here is from this position, you got to come out of it the same way you got in. So that back foot, toes tucked under, scoop your low belly, lift your hips, and then pull that right leg back and up to down dog split. Nice. And then step that right foot between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop your back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Take both hands to the inside of the front foot, walk to your left just a little bit until you start to feel resistance. So the legs here are in that same warrior two or side angle position. Your knee is pointing towards second or third toe of the front foot. Good. You're squeezing your right butt cheek in and you're paying attention to getting powerful in that back thigh. So squeeze your feet towards each other, widen your thighs. Let your front knee be over your front ankle. If it can't go there, you got to walk more towards the front of your mat again. This is what I mean, is the resistance of your torso is not what's important here. Is you have to hold the stability of your legs. Squeeze everything together. Take your arms out wide, letter T, airplane arms. Torso parallels the floor. So you're still reaching forward. Belly parallels the floor. Good. And you got to widen your front knee. So widen your knee a little bit more, Suzanne. Good. And pull through that back thigh, you guys. Good. Yeah. Push into the baby toe of your back foot. Awesome. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Walk back towards the top of your mat. Good. Spin that back heel up, please. And come back to downward facing dog. I have to say, I have a lot of fun with this pose. Left leg up and back, down dog split. Good. Bring the knee forward towards your nose, please. And then shoot that leg out to the right, underneath that right armpit, and then push out through that foot until your outer left hip finds the floor. Good. You're turning your ribs to face the top of your mat so you can come onto your forearms, and your back foot, the toes should be tucked under. So again, we're creating rotation on the hip and the thigh here. Good. Keep both feet flexed. So that left leg that's extended out to the side is you should be continuously pushing through that heel. And turning your pelvis as much towards the floor as you can, and turning your ribs as much towards the floor as you can. Again, it's that oppositional, positioning that creates that feeling of real extension and stretch. So if you're doing nothing with that left leg, is not a lot or not as much is going to happen. Good. And that's sort of our metaphor, like for the pose, right? Is that if you're doing nothing or you're doing the minimum of using what you have, you're using very little of what you've been given. Maybe not a lot happens. And then we take that not a lot happening to mean that we don't mean very much. Right? Self-fulfilling prophecy. So this feeling of, can I expand into every inch of what I've been given, even if the expansion means I come up against places that feel a little icky or tight or unfamiliar. Good. You can let that hip rest on the floor, Anastasia, unless staying lifted feels better. Just a lot more work on your back to stay lifted. Good. Nice, you guys. You're still turning your ribs towards the floor. So there's an aspect of this that you are twisting through your trunk, which is important. Again, we want the ribs to be able to move side to side. Good. Take one more breath. And then walk yourself back up onto your hands. And again, you have to come out of the pose the same way you got in. So that back leg, you got to engage it, pull up through that back thigh, engage your low belly, and then pull that left leg up and back to down dog split. Doesn't have to be graceful, but do it. Good. And then left foot forward between the hands. It was graceful. You guys did a good job. Good. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Both hands come inside the front foot. Walk your hands to your right just a little bit until you feel resistance. That means that you don't compromise that front knee not pointing at your second toe. Make sure your knee stays pointing at your second toe. Make sure your left butt cheek is hugging in and back so that you're not letting your left butt cheek pop out to the side. Good. Yeah. Thighs go wide. So push back into that baby toe of your back foot. Good. And then squeeze the legs towards each other. Take your arms out wide, airplane arms. Torso is still level with the floor, or it's still low to the floor. Good. Notice if your hips are now back behind your heels or back behind your ankles. Try and pull your hips in line with your feet. You're like, no way. There it is. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job, you guys. Good. Walk to your right, please. So you come to the center of your mat. Turn your left toes forward. Forward fold, bow. Parsvakonasana. Good. Nice. Then bring your hands to your hips, please. Come all the way up to stand. Good. Heel toe your feet a tiny bit closer, then turn both feet out to 45 degrees. Bend your knees to come into high squat. Good. And then I want you to take your hands to your side ribs again. A little bit of, this used to be a dancer thing, is I want you to push your ribs to the right. And then push your ribs back to center and then push them to the left. And then push them back to center and push them to the right. And back to center and to the left. So you're not leaning, but you're literally moving your ribs, sliding them right and left. So you're trying to find that ability to isolate your rib cage to the right and to the left. Nice, Anastasia. Good. Nice, Sue. Just don't twist the shoulders. Yeah. Good. And now can you circle your rib cage? Can you bring your chest forward and circle and to the right and to the back? Good. Circle, circle, circle. Nice. Not leaning the shoulders forward, just working the rib cage. Nice. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Straighten your legs. Good. Turn the toes forward, please. And then reach back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Good. Bow forward, stretching the arms up and overhead any amount. I was not doing that just to, make you look silly. You didn't look silly. But it's a real thing, right? If you found it difficult to isolate the movement of your rib cage, that gives you a lot of indication of how tight your trunk is, how tight your lower back is. So that ability to isolate, move your ribs right and left, forward and back, right? It gives you an idea of how much space you have to expand into. So play with it, maybe seated next time instead of in a squat. Good, release your hands down to the floor. Because the more you can free up space in your trunk, lots and lots of things become more accessible to you. Good. All right, hands to your hips, please. Come back up to stand. Here we go. Turn your right toes, actually left toes, because that's going to be towards the top of your mat. So left toes turn towards the top of your mat. Good. Check out here, again, classical alignment is that your front heel is in line with the instep of your back foot. So notice what your feet are doing. If that's not what feels stable to you, make your feet stable. Put your feet where they're stable. But there's an awareness, right, that we want to try and find where the hips and the legs are in alignment with each other, right, in a conscious, stable way. Good. Bend that left knee. Start to come into warrior two. Good. And then maybe let's do this. Straighten the leg again. Stretch your arms up alongside your ears. Pull up. So you pull up through everything. Squeeze your legs. Pull up through your side trunk. Good. Now don't let go of that pulling up. And now bend your left knee coming into warrior two. Stretch your arms out wide, but don't give in to gravity. You're still pulling up through your side ribs. Now extend forward as far as you can, like you're coming into triangle. Good. And that same feeling of you're not giving up any space here. You're lifting your side ribs away from your thigh. Nice. Now let your forearm touch down to your front leg or bring that hand down to the floor without giving up any space. Even if that forearm is resting on your thigh, you're still pulling up through your side waist. Left rib cage tucks under and forward. Top rib cage, right rib cage slides back. And now pull that right arm bone into the shoulder socket. and extend out through your fingertips. So that shoulder blade is squeezing in, but then you're lengthening out through your arm. Good. Don't let the arm come back behind you, Susan. So bring it slightly forward. Good. Ribs in, Suzanne. Awesome, you guys. Bring yourself back up to warrior two. Good. If your knee moved away from your ankle for that, slide yourself back into side angle for a moment, forearm onto the thigh. Good. Right arm over the ear. So again, you're holding yourself nice and steady there, right? Core engaged, rib cage engaged. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Don't move your front knee. Use your waist to bring yourself back up to warrior two. It's the same thing you did in gate pose. There you go. Oblique abdominals, fantastic. Straighten your front thigh, please. Good. Come into triangle just because it'll feel like a nice relief. Extend that left arm forward, please. Let it touch down to the front leg, floor, or block. Right arm lifts. Good. Really, it's the same feeling of extension through the side body. So if you like triangle, but you're not sure you like side angle, then I don't know what to tell you, right? It's just we don't like to do thigh work, I guess. Good. Bring your hand to the inside edge of your foot if it's not already there, or to a block on the inside edge of your foot. Bend your left knee again. So you bring the legs back into side angle. As you bend your left knee, pull your right thigh back. Good. Resist that going forward. So your pelvis is really going straight down because you're pulling back on the right thigh as much as you're letting the left thigh go forward. Good. And then right arm is still straight up to the sky. Left forearm is pressing up against your left shin. Good. I know, don't get tired. Squeeze that left butt cheek back and in. Yeah. Good. And then release both hands down to the floor, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Drop down to your knees, please. Take a child's pose. So you did side angle now 2 times, or almost 3 or 4 times on one side. And the whole time were you doing it, were you thinking so much about how do I turn this and how do I turn that and how do I push through this and how do I push through that, that you missed the pose? Yep. That's okay if you did. Did you actually feel yourself breathing into your side ribs? Did you feel yourself breathing at all? This is the trick, right? Is that there's a lot to be learned about a pose. And then there's an incredible amount more to be experienced and comprehended and understood through doing a pose. And what you understand is that feeling of expansion. You breathing in the position that you're in. And do you feel, what does it feel like to have a stable base that you can trust? A stable sense of self that you can trust, and the feeling that there is a you to expand into, that you're not really limited to just what you have right this moment, or what you have this moment is more than what you think you have. So on the second side, I want you to do everything that we already did, but I want you to remember to breathe. Feel yourself in the pose. Downward facing dog. Good. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Drop your back heel. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. And then again, check out your feet. So before you do anything else, straighten your front leg. Look at your feet. Is your front heel in some kind of alignment with your back foot? Again, classical is in line with the instep, but for stability and for your pelvis, it might have to look a little different. So with the legs straight, after you've set your feet, stretch your arms up to the sky and pull through your side body. Squeeze your legs together, lift your hip points up. Again, side angle. There is never a point where you are falling asleep in it. You are constantly reaching, constantly drawing in towards that center and extending out. So pull up. Good. And then you're reaching through that back thigh as you let your right knee bend into warrior two. Good. So your pelvis is going straight down because you're widening the thighs equally. And then your arms go wide into warrior two. And then you're extending forward like you're coming into triangle pose. Keep lifting your left rib cage up towards the ceiling. As you extend forward, pull up, press into your left hip, press into your back thigh, press into the baby toe of your back foot. Right rib cage spins under. Good. Now let that forearm come to rest on the thigh or bring the hand down to the floor. Good. As that forearm comes to rest, don't drop into that shoulder. Push into the forearm, pull your ribs up away from your thigh, keep extending. Nice, Anastasia. Nice, Kristen. Nice, Suzanne. Nice, Mark. Nice, Lydia. Good, everybody. Good. And that left arm is over the ear. Pull your armpit down. Pull your shoulder blade down towards your hip. And then pull through your crown of your head and your sternum, and then reach your fingertips. Good. Nice, you guys. And then don't let your knee move. Bring yourself back up to warrior two. Beautiful. Good. And let yourself tip forward back to side angle. Good. Almost no weight on that front forearm or that front hand. Beautiful. And then bring yourself back to warrior two. Don't move that front knee. Good. Awesome. And then straighten the front thigh. Good. Come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Reach with a straight leg. Let the hand come down to the floor or block. Left arm to the sky. So I challenge you for the rest of your yoga life that when you are transitioning in and out of side angle pose, that you pay attention to, do not move your knee, right? Don't make the transition about you pushing off of your leg with your shoulder. Don't make it about momentum. Stay steady in that core energy of your pelvis and your ribs and your navel so that you can float, because that makes it easier to come into Ardha Chandrasana, makes it easier to come into a bind. It makes it easier to do 10,000 other things in your life. But you have to remember not to fall asleep. Good. Left arm is still up to the sky. Bring that right hand to the inside edge of your front foot. Bend your right knee again, dropping back into side angle in this position. Good. Left arm can stay straight up to the sky for this variation. Press your forearm back against your shin. Squeeze your shin against your forearm. Right butt cheek pulls back and in towards the midline of your mat. Good. And reach your rib cage forward. Right armpit extends beyond the tips of your toes. Make it do that. Good. Not your arms, Susan, your ribs. Your arm is good too, but I also want your ribs to move. Good. And then release both hands down to the floor. Nice job. Spin your back heel up, downward facing dog. Hua. Side angle, I think if we are doing it really consciously, is one of the most challenging positions because it is whole body and there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to rest. Good. The rest is how much you draw into yourself, not how much you run away from yourself. Drop your knees to the floor. Good. Sit back on your heels or between your heels. If you need a block between your feet, you can do that. And then walk your hands back behind you, please. Fingers pointing forward. Good. And just walk yourself back any amount. Good. For some of you, if you can sit between your heels and you want to drop down to your forearms back behind you, you're welcome to do that. Good. Keep your shins on the floor. Good. Susan, don't let your knees splay too wide. You want to keep your heels and your knees in alignment with each other. Good. Nice, Kristen. Nice, Joy. Let your throat draw back just a little bit more so it's in line. There you go. Good. And then walk yourself back up. Really nice, you guys. And come to sit. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees go wide. Good. And forward fold however you'd like. If you want to hold your feet, hold your feet. If you want to walk your arms forward, walk your arms forward. But the position that you come into, focus on breathing really wide. So can you come back to breathing through your side ribs? And then just notice again on the second side, did you remember to breathe a little bit more? And if the answer is no, that's all right. You'll do side angle pose again. You can remind yourself. Breathe while I'm here. Breathe wide into my ribs. Don't get focused on the forward and back extension because you're not going anywhere. but you're expanding. So you breathe into every bit of space that you've been given. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Nice job. Come on down to your backs. Good. Left leg extends out on the floor. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Hold behind your thigh, please. Extend your right heel up towards the ceiling. Press your thigh back against your hands. Good. Press down into your lower back. Nice. Good. Then start to take your thigh over across the body, straight-legged twist. Reaching over to the left. You can keep that left hand underneath the thigh or the knee to support. Good. Relaxing through the right rib cage, relaxing through the shoulder. Good. I want you to try to keep the legs straight, even though I know it's an intense position for most of us. Good, Sarah. I would just bend your knee up as high as you can. So maybe you can bring like the ball of your foot to the wall and push into it a little bit. Yeah, it's okay if you can't straighten it, but just having the hip in that position and a little bit of pressure will help. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bend the knee, come back to center, please. Squeeze it in. Good. And then send that right leg down to the floor. Bring your left knee in. Hold behind your thigh. Extend that left leg up towards the ceiling, left heel up towards the ceiling. Press the thigh into your hands. Good. Root that right thigh down to the floor at the same time. Good. Again, doing this in a relaxed way, right? The way you stretch your hamstrings at the end of class should be different than the way you are consciously stretching them in the beginning of class. So be relaxed about it. If your hamstrings aren't more open at this point, nothing you do right in this moment is going to make a significant difference. Just breathe. Press out through your heel. Good. And then take the leg across your body. Good, letting the hips rotate, but keep drawing that thigh level with your hip if you can. Good, relaxing through that left side ribs, left shoulder. See, the hope, the reality is that as we practice physically, is that by the end of a sequence, the end of a class, is that we have greater acceptance of ourselves. Not that we're excited about what progress we've made or that we've changed something. That might happen, and that's great if it does. But better that we cultivate that sense that I accept myself as I am, and I have greater awareness of what space I've been given and how to fill it. So I walk away from my yoga practice feeling full, never less. And if that's not what happens in your practice, well, then there's some conversations to have with your mind. Because it's what's possible. Not what has to be, but it's what's possible. Bring yourself back to center, squeeze that knee back in. Good. And then bring both knees in towards your chest. Take your right thigh on top of your left, stacking the knees, separate the feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Good. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the neck, flex your feet. Breathing wide into the back of your rib cage. Don't miss an opportunity to do that. And something switches in our mind when we breathe wide instead of we breathe up and down or we breathe forward and back. Right? The linear kind of concept can feel like it's very narrow, but that wide side to side puts our mind in a different place. Unwind your legs, switch to the other side, put the other leg on top. extended side angle, do you trust the inner place from which you are expanding from? Good. Slowly release the legs, please. Plant your feet. One bridge pose. So planting your feet, taking the arms alongside you, press into the heels, lift your armpits, lift your hips, come into bridge. Good, pressing down through the feet, move your butt towards your heels, chest towards your top of your head. Good, and then slowly roll down the spine one vertebra at a time. Beautiful. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest, bring your forehead up to meet your knees. If you'd like a spinal twist, feel free to take a spinal twist, and then you're settling for Shavasana. So do what you want to do. Any spinal twist that you'd like, letting the knees drop to one side and then the other. And then as you are ready, make sure you're warm. Start to allow yourself to come to a place of rest. And my suggestion is to keep breathing very wide. Maybe even imagining that the breath or the prana, it moves beyond the boundaries of your skin. So the energy that is you is not just contained within this body, but that it flows on the breath, expands with the breath, and then softens back to the center from which it originated. So not even the word contraction, but it expands and then softens back to where it began. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side, taking a moment there to let yourself feel very contained, very small. You're still everything that you've ever been, but you're contained, curled up, coiled up. And as you come up to sit, it's a process of unfolding. So bring yourself up to sit and unfold. And as you bring your hands together in front of your heart center or whatever mudra that you'd like, there's an unfolding that happens from inside. The beauty of Shavasana is that it lets us go into a state that is maybe very open, And then it's up to us to maintain that openness. Don't close in again. So extended side angle is this, is can you go back to that point where you began, that center point of self that is so great, always great. And every bit of extension and expansion you do in the world is coming from there. So you can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and everything that you do is fulfilling because it's coming from there. It's expanding from there. So no more reaching just on the outside. Find what you want out of your life, have big goals, big dreams, and go get them. But expand from that place that is deep inside. Close the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. A great rest of your night, great rest of your week until I see you again. You have to unmute to tell me how that went.
Thank you.
You're welcome.